He called me too ugly to love until I got a $3 million settlement. My husband told me I was too ugly to love, but when I got a $3 million settlement, guess who came crawling back? You won't believe how far he went to try to get a piece of it. I'm a 35-year-old woman, and I was in a terrible accident. A drunk driver blew through a red light and slammed into my car. The force of the hit spun me straight into a tanker truck that was illegally parked at the intersection. My car burst into flames. I still remember the collision, the searing heat, and then nothing until I woke up in the hospital. I had suffered severe burns, mostly along the left side of my body. My face, arm, and leg were the most affected. I've undergone several surgeries, including skin grafts, and the doctors have told me the scarring will be permanent. The pain has been relentless, and the recovery? Absolutely brutal. I'm still being treated in a specialized burn unit and will probably be here another month before transitioning to outpatient rehab and more surgeries. My husband, Ryan, he's 37, was there at the hospital in the beginning. The first few days were a drugged-up blur of pain. I think I remember him holding my hand beside my bed, or maybe I just wanted that to be true. About a week after the crash, when I started gaining more awareness, the bandages on my face had already been changed. I hadn't seen myself yet, but I could tell from the doctor's careful words that things were bad. One afternoon, Ryan was sitting in my room. I'd just gone through a brutal wound cleaning session and was feeling completely drained. I tried to talk to him, asked about the house, our dog, anything to feel normal. He barely spoke. He kept looking at his phone or out the window. When I asked what was going on, he hesitated for a long time. Then, he said something that knocked the wind out of me. He told me he was struggling to deal with how I looked. I'll never forget his exact words. "It's hard to look at you. You're just incredibly ugly now. I don't know if I can stay in a marriage like this." And he said this to me while I was wrapped in bandages, barely able to lift a finger, and in constant agony. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I was too stunned. I turned toward the blurry shape that was probably him and told him, as calmly as I could, that if that's how he really felt, he needed to go. I said I couldn't focus on getting better with someone like that in the room. He pushed back, told me I was being unfair. Said he was just being truthful, that I'd always said honesty mattered to me. Then he flipped the narrative, acting like he was the one hurt, said his life had been turned upside down too. And then he left, angry. He didn't come back the next day, or the day after. It's been nearly 2 months now. He called my hospital line a few times that first week. I didn't answer. My younger sister, Allison, she's 31, has been an anchor through all this. She told him I wasn't ready to talk. He accused me of being dramatic. He hasn't tried to see me since. About a month ago, he texted to ask about some mail and whether the mortgage was covered. Thankfully, my sister's been helping me manage the bills. Some of his family reached out to her. They said I needed to be more understanding, that Ryan was traumatized, too. His mother even suggested the pain meds were making me unstable when I asked him to leave. She said I should apologize to him for not supporting him through this. And that's when I started questioning myself. Was I too harsh? Was I supposed to overlook what he said just because he called it honesty? I was helpless. I needed him. Instead, he made my pain about his discomfort with how I looked. Allison swears I did nothing wrong. She says his reaction was cruel and selfish. But his family's words keep echoing in my head. Did I overreact? Was I wrong to shut him out so completely? I haven't reached out since that day. Right now, all I can focus on is recovery, physical therapy, preparing for my next surgery, and just making it through the day. Even the thought of speaking to him makes me feel sick. So, was I the one out of line for telling him to leave and not taking his calls after he commented on my appearance? Update 1. Thank you to everyone who responded to my original post. I read as many comments as I could, even the critical ones. Most of you were incredibly compassionate, and hearing from people outside my situation gave me clarity I didn't know I needed. Some of you asked how I was even able to write this, given my injuries. Totally fair question. The burns are concentrated on my left side, but my right hand and arm weren't badly affected. It's slow and painful to type, but I can still manage. When I get too tired, Allison helps by typing for me. Many of you echoed what my sister has been telling me. Ryan's behavior wasn't just insensitive, it was unacceptable. You confirmed that I wasn't wrong to ask him to leave, and that reassurance has helped more than I can say. A lot's happened in the past month. I was finally discharged from the main hospital 2 weeks ago. I'm now staying at a rehab center closer to Allison's place. She's taken time off work to help me settle in and get to all my appointments. Rehab is no joke. Hours of physical and occupational therapy every day. Relearning how to use my left hand has been a nightmare. The nerve pain is still intense, but I'm pushing through. I'm surviving. That has to be enough for now. I've seen my face now, really seen it. The doctors are hopeful about what future surgeries might achieve, but when I look in the mirror, the woman staring back doesn't feel like me. She's unfamiliar. And even though I try to push it away, Ryan's words, that I'm unbelievably ugly, still rattle around in my head on the bad days. Since those few ignored calls at the hospital, Ryan hasn't reached out directly. But not long after I shared my story online, his mom called my sister. She was relentless. She told my sister that Ryan was suffering and that I was being cruel for walking away from him over one emotional comment. My sister, who is usually calm and composed, finally lost it. She told his mother in no uncertain terms that Ryan was the one who walked out, not me, and if he's suffering, it's because of his own decisions. That conversation ended with Ryan's mom hanging up the phone on her. A few days later, a letter showed up at the hospital. It had been forwarded to my new rehab center. It was from Ryan, but it wasn't an apology, not even close. It was a strange, meandering letter that seemed more like a monologue than any sort of reconciliation. He went on about how difficult things had been for him, how he didn't know what to tell people when they asked about me, how the house felt cold and empty. He mentioned money, the pressure of bills, and the looming mortgage. He did toss in a sorry if what I said hurt you, but followed it by insisting he was only being truthful and didn't expect my reaction to be so intense. He suggested that once I felt more like myself again, maybe we could talk. Not once did he ask how I was healing. Not one word about my surgeries or the pain. It was all about him. My sister read it too, and she agreed. It was completely self-centered. I didn't respond. Meanwhile, the legal case is progressing. The drunk driver who hit me was found to be way over the legal limit. He had prior DUIs too. The truck I collided with wasn't responsible for the initial crash, but the fire was caused in part by the impact with it, and the company that owns it has a massive insurance policy. My attorney, who my sister helped me find, is an expert in severe injury cases. She's been compiling everything: medical reports, police files, expert opinions. She told me that given how serious my injuries are, the permanent scarring, nerve damage, impaired vision, and limited use of my left hand, I could be looking at a significant payout. The trucking company might even settle early to avoid bad publicity and a long court battle. Ryan briefly mentioned the lawsuit in his letter. Just one line, really. He asked if I'd hired a lawyer yet, and added that he hoped I'd get something decent because we'll need it. That sentence made my stomach twist. It felt like he was already eyeing a piece of the money. That was enough. I've started cutting financial ties wherever possible. My sister's been helping me open new accounts. My lawyer's advising me on what to do about the house. Ryan still lives there, but I want nothing to do with that place. Not now. Maybe not ever. Rehab is brutal, but I'm making progress, inch by inch. Some days are better than others. I'm trying hard not to let Ryan's manipulations pull me back in, but it's difficult when he and his family keep popping back up in these twisted, guilt-tripping ways. I haven't spoken to him since that moment in the hospital. I don't intend to. Thank you again for all the encouragement. It's helped me stay grounded in my choice. Update 2. Hi everyone. It's been a while. A lot has happened, and honestly, there are days I'm just too wiped out to even gather my thoughts. But I wanted to check back in and update you. Your advice before helped more than I can say. Physically, I'm still on the road to recovery. It's ongoing. I was discharged from inpatient rehab about 6 weeks ago. Now I'm living in a small apartment my sister found for me. It's accessible and just a short drive from my outpatient therapy center. I still have multiple therapy sessions each week: physical, occupational, and psychological. They're intense. I've had another surgery on my hand, and there are more planned for my arm and face over the next couple of years. The scarring is very visible, and the changes to my appearance are, as the surgeon said, permanent. I'm learning to adjust to this version of me. Some days, even brushing my teeth feels like a battle, and catching my reflection off guard still stings. But here's the big update: the settlement and Ryan. About a month ago, my lawyer told me the trucking company's insurance team made an offer. After some back and forth, we reached a deal. The total settlement was $3 million. After paying for legal costs and the hospital bills I've already racked up, there's still a very large amount left, enough to cover future medical care, therapy, lost income, and the pain I've been through. It felt overwhelming. This wasn't winning the lottery. This was compensation for a life I didn't choose. But it means I won't have to stress over medical bills. I'll be able to afford the best surgeons and therapies going forward. And it gives me some peace of mind in a life that now feels so unstable. The settlement became official around 2 weeks ago. My lawyer recommended I keep the news quiet as long as possible, but sometimes word spreads, even without saying anything, especially in smaller towns and legal networks. I never told Ryan. There's no reason I would. We haven't spoken directly in months. My attorney did, however, send him formal notice of the pending divorce and the upcoming split of our marital assets, mainly the house. Then, just like flipping a switch, Ryan changed his tune. Roughly a week after the settlement was finalized, he suddenly started calling. Constantly. I never picked up. Not once. But Ryan kept trying. He left message after message. And the tone? It had completely flipped. Gone was the self-pity and finger-pointing. Suddenly, he was Mr. Concern. His voicemails were full of sweetness. Babe, I'm so worried about you. I miss you every second. We need to talk. Then came the big one. I made the biggest mistake of my life. His texts weren't any different. He kept saying he'd been scared, confused, that he didn't mean the things he said in the hospital, that he loved me, that he always had, that he couldn't live without me. He even brought up an article he'd read about a trucking company settling a huge personal injury case. He didn't say it was mine outright, but the hint was loud and clear. Then came the kicker. He said he was relieved I'd be taken care of. Still, I didn't respond. And then one afternoon, he showed up, right at my apartment door. To this day, I don't know how he got my address. Maybe his mom sweet-talked it out of someone. Maybe he dug for it himself. My sister, Allison, was with me at the time. When he buzzed and I didn't answer, he started pounding on the door and yelling my name. Said he just wanted to apologize. Allison called the cops. They arrived fast and escorted him off the premises. The officers told him plainly to leave me alone. He tried playing the victim, told them he was just trying to see his sick wife. But they weren't having it. That same week, his mom ramped things up too. She called Allison, sobbing, saying Ryan had changed, that he was heartbroken, that he regretted everything and needed a second chance. Then she mentioned the settlement. Said it was a blessing that now Ryan wouldn't have to carry the burden of supporting me through recovery, that we could rebuild our lives together. I mean, the audacity. I haven't spoken a word to him. And honestly, after all this, I never will. His sudden transformation right after the settlement became public? That tells me everything I need to know. This isn't about love. It's about money. He called me hideous and walked out when I needed him most. Not once did he show care, concern, or genuine remorse, until there was a $3 million reason to change his tune. The divorce is well underway. My attorney's fully aware of everything, and she's making sure I stay protected. Watching him act like this is nauseating. It's like the man I married either never existed or died the day he looked at my face and chose disgust over compassion. Whatever he tries next, I'm ready. Allison and my lawyer have my back. I'm focused on my healing, on creating a new life, one where he has no place. It's sick to even say it out loud, but his desperate love seems to come with a $3 million price tag. Update 3. Hi again. It's been 2 months since I last checked in, and things with Ryan have gotten worse, way worse. After the cops escorted him off my property, he stayed away in person, but not online. The phone calls and texts kept coming, and honestly, they got even more intense. He left long voicemails, sometimes sobbing, talking about how he couldn't eat or sleep, about how sorry he was, about how much he missed me. He kept bringing up old memories, hoping they'd tug at my heart. But all it did was wear me down emotionally. I finally changed my phone number, and that gave me some peace. But then he started emailing me, flooded my inbox, my old email, which I barely check. The messages were like the voicemails, apologies, declarations of eternal love, and, of course, subtle comments about starting over together with the help of the settlement. He even sent me links to homes and neighborhoods he knew I once liked, talking about buying a fresh start. And his mom? She's become relentless. She calls Allison nearly every day, sometimes crying, sometimes accusing me of being vindictive and cruel. She actually told my sister that I owe Ryan another chance because of our wedding vows. And she had the nerve to say he deserves part of the settlement because of his emotional suffering. My lawyer already explained that the settlement is legally mine. It's for personal injury, and it came after we'd already separated. Ryan walked out. The record is clear, but his mom believes what she wants. Then came the worst moment so far. 3 weeks ago, Ryan somehow found out where I do my outpatient physical therapy. He waited for me in the parking lot. I had just finished a grueling session and was leaning on my cane, trying to catch my breath. He popped up out of nowhere, looking completely out of it. Bags under his eyes, like he hadn't slept in days. He started pleading. Said he just wanted to talk. He tried to grab my arm. I stepped back. I told him to leave. My voice was shaky, but I was firm. I said this was harassment, that I had nothing left to say to him. He started shouting that I was cold, that I was shutting him out, that he loved me. Then, right there in the parking lot, he dropped to his knees and begged me to take him back. It was humiliating. Thankfully, one of the therapists inside saw what was happening and came out with security. They made sure he left, and they helped me to Allison's car. After that, my lawyer immediately sent a cease and desist letter. It warned Ryan that if he tried contacting or approaching me again, she'd file for a restraining order. That seems to have stopped him, at least for now. But I still feel like I have to keep looking over my shoulder. The divorce proceedings are dragging on mainly because he's stalling. He's contesting the house, trying to make everything as difficult as possible. My lawyer says it's a tactic bitter people use when they're trying to control the situation one last time. Through all of this, I'm trying to focus on healing. I've started trauma therapy. It's helping. We're working through the accident, my disfigurement, and everything Ryan did to me after. It's a long process. His behavior still weighs heavy. It's exhausting. It's infuriating. It's a constant reminder of what I've endured. And through it all, I still haven't heard him say, "I'm truly sorry I hurt you." Ryan isn't acting out of love. He's panicking. He knows he threw away a stable, easy life the second he threw me away. He's not truly sorry. He's just sorry he got exposed for being a selfish coward, and now he's shut out of a financial future that once included him. I've been documenting everything, every message, voicemail, email, everything. Allison has been incredible. She's taken on the burden of answering his mom's endless calls, shielding me from the emotional chaos. I honestly don't know how I'd be getting through this without her. All I want is for Ryan to disappear from my life for good. The fact that he discarded me so quickly when I was burned, broken, and had nothing only to fight tooth and nail now says everything. It's not about me. It's about what I now have. Update 4. Hey again. It's been 6 long months since my last update, and I think this might be the last time I write about all of this, at least publicly. The mess with Ryan finally reached a conclusion. Not a pleasant one, but a final one. After my attorney sent the cease and desist, Ryan stopped showing up in person for a bit. But his campaign of manipulation didn't end. He started using other people, sending gifts through third parties, leaving notes, posting emotional nonsense online. His mother kept hounding Allison, switching between sobbing and accusing me of being heartless. It drained both of us. The divorce was crawling along, mostly because Ryan was dragging it out. He contested everything, furniture, the value of the house, and even tried to claim part of my personal injury settlement. He said he deserved it because he emotionally supported me before the accident and that the trauma affected him too. My lawyer, who has been an absolute powerhouse, shut down every one of his ridiculous claims. But it was still stressful and time-consuming. Then, about 3 months ago, Ryan took things to another level. He filed a petition for spousal support. He claimed he couldn't work anymore due to the emotional damage from our separation and that my injury payout had created an unfair imbalance. He insisted he deserved support to maintain the lifestyle he'd gotten used to during our marriage. He also renewed his demand for a bigger cut of the home equity. The court didn't buy it. Not even close. The judge reviewed the entire timeline, his disappearance, his cruel words, his sudden change of heart after the settlement, and practically laughed him out of the courtroom. The police reports, his prior visits, and his behavior at my therapy center were all included in the evidence. His petition was denied outright. The judge even scolded him for wasting everyone's time. You'd think the public embarrassment would humble him. It didn't. If anything, it broke something in him. He started leaving furious voicemails on Allison's phone, because by then I'd blocked him on everything. His messages weren't apologetic anymore. Just rage. Accusations. He said I had ruined his life, turned the world against him, destroyed everything he built. The last confrontation happened just a few weeks ago. The divorce was nearly finalized, and we had a court hearing scheduled to wrap up the asset division. That night, Ryan showed up at my apartment building again. This time, he didn't buzz. He slipped inside when someone else opened the door and stormed up to my unit. Then he started pounding. I was alone. He was shouting through the door. Not love this time, just fury. He yelled that I owed him, called me selfish and heartless, said I had taken everything from him. He even started kicking the door. I was terrified. I called 911 and messaged my lawyer. The police arrived fast. They had to physically restrain him. He was screaming obscenities, calling me ugly again, his favorite insult, and saying I'd pay for what I'd done. He was arrested for harassment and disturbing the peace. Even though we hadn't filed a formal restraining order yet, this was enough. The very next day, we went to court. Ryan looked like a complete mess. His lawyer looked like he wanted to disappear. The judge, already familiar with his antics, brought up the arrest from the night before. Ryan tried to speak, but ended up ranting about how unfair everything was and how I had bewitched everyone around me. He showed no remorse. None. Not even a flicker of awareness about the pain and fear he caused me. The judge finalized the divorce. He ruled that the settlement money was entirely mine, separate property, awarded for personal injury, and granted well after Ryan had left me. The house was ordered to be sold, and any remaining equity would be split based on marital property law. But once the mortgage and legal fees were taken out, Ryan's share wasn't much. On top of that, Ryan faced criminal charges. He was fined, given probation, and ordered to complete anger management classes. The judge also issued a restraining order. He can't contact me, can't come near me, and can't show up at any of the places I go. A few days after that, his mom called Allison one last time. No tears this time. Just ice. She said I had destroyed her son and hung up. Allison replied, "No, he destroyed himself," and then blocked the number. That's the last we've heard from either of them. So this is where it ends. Thank you all for reading, for your encouragement, for reminding me that I wasn't crazy to see the deception and manipulation for what it really was. I'm closing this chapter now and stepping into a future where Ryan is nothing more than a bad memory.